back to the couch. We are the couch potatoes. We're a family that gets together, watches movies, and then do first impressions and reviews. I see my son over there trying to laugh, but that's okay. We're going to keep moving on. Anyway, today's pick is my pick, and we are going to be watching Heretic. Heretic is a movie that was shown in 2024, and it's starring Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and Chloe East. It is a psychological thriller. We will be watching it on Xfinity On Demand, HBO. I guess it's on HBO. Yeah. So we'll be watching it there. And
you want to pause it? It's rated R.
Yeah, rated R. A little bit of violence,
some
adult content, and language. So it's going to be rated R. And then we'll go ahead, watch the movie, and come back on the flip side to tell you what we think. Oh, sorry.
As Darius likes to say, ...
Hey tubers, we're back after watching the movie. So this was definitely a psychological thriller. The group does have things to say. Before we get into all of that, I did want to do a synopsis of the movie. So this is a movie about two young ladies on their Mormon mission, and they are visiting.
Oh, hold on, you're getting a phone call.
I see.
Who is it?
It's my mom. No, we're sorry, Mom. We're recording. I'll call you later. I love you.
Yeah, because that's going to take like an hour.
Hey. Not wrong. We talk. Anyway.
Reset.
So this movie is about two young ladies who are on their Mormon mission. And it starts with them having discussions basically about some inappropriate things, but generally speaking, they're talking about faith and whether or not the Book of Mormon is true. And they're asking this question of one another, and then they come to their last home that they are trying to convert people into their religion. And they come to the home of a gentleman who is very mysterious. And the first thing they ask him, because they're reluctant to go into the house, so they ask if there's a woman present, and he explains that his wife is in the kitchen making a blueberry pie. So they do come in. Initially, they're comforted by small details. There's a plaque on the wall that says, "Bless this mess," makes them a little more comfortable. The man starts off by telling them that the house walls and ceiling are made of metal. And then he proceeds to go into the kitchen, or off screen, we assume it's the kitchen. And Hugh Grant is the man, the antagonist.
Yes.
Yes, he's the lead, and Mr. Reed. And then Sophie Thatcher is Sister Barnes, and Chloe East is Sister Paxton. And I must say, these actors did an amazing job. The movie is primarily the three of these individuals. So he convinces them to come in the house. He gets them comfortable. They have little chit chat back and forth, and throughout the conversation, he starts asking questions, probing questions that clearly making these two young ladies uncomfortable. And then they start noticing small details. So they decide to tell him that, first they ask, "Can we see your wife?" And he says, "Oh yeah, she's ready, follow me." They start to go toward the back of the house, decide not to, and they tell him a little white lie by saying that someone called them on the phone and they now have to go. Of course, remember at the beginning, he told them that the walls were metal and the ceiling were metal, so they can't get signal inside this home. Also, the door is locked, they can't get out. So he leads them to another chamber of the home, in which he proceeds to, again, give them this crazy scenario, and we will be talking about that. And he makes them choose, because he tells them they have to leave the house through the back door. He makes them choose which door they want to leave through. They'll have a great big conversation, and then they have to choose a set of doors. Once they choose that set of doors, that's when the House of Horrors really begins. And this is truly a psychological thriller. It was very entertaining and very nice, good to watch. Beautiful set, wonderful music. But I'm going to go ahead and turn the discussion over to the family because I think they are ready. All right, so Dee, I guess you want to go first?
So, for me, the movie really starts off slow, but it does pick up, especially when you first see Mr. Reed. All the conversations do at first glance seem to drag on and go around in circles, but it does fit the overall theme of the movie. Once again, for as many people as they've put into the movie, it was well done as far as keeping it all in basically one location, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
Well done there too. For me, the movie is pretty much an allegory for Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's even a picture on one of the walls in the house of Dante's Inferno going from the top level all the way to the bottom level of the underworld before supposedly reaching back to the top. Hence that one scene where it was where Sister Paxton's character was and the room was upside down. So it could be a reference to that. Everything which once again fits with the overall theme of the movie, which is iterations. Iterations of board games, iterations of religion, iterations of music, and this, everything is greatly done, and I appreciate it for everything that the movie has done and said.
Oh, okay, everybody.
Yeah.
So who else want to talk? Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. Did you want to?
Go ahead.
Okay. Like the movie does a very good job at messing with your senses. Like you follow these two women very closely, and like there are like shots that just make you just uncomfortable, and it's so good at pulling you in, and like it does kind of bring it to. I'm not quite sure on what stance exactly the movie is trying to go towards. I think it's supposed to be much more of your own interpretation, essentially.
Yeah. And I think that was done intentionally.
Yeah.
But I do.
And because here's the thing, because Mom and I, because I'm very much pretty much agnostic. Essentially, Mom is very much Christian. And we both have had conversations that are very similar to the ones in this movie, on religion and how exactly does it work and how exactly essentially in a way sort of which way is right.
Yeah. It challenges your beliefs.
Yeah.
And especially it gives you deeper questions that you would ask. I think if you are a person who is agnostic or if you're a person who's searching for religion, I don't know so much if you are a Christian, and that was one of the things that I thought, especially toward the end when the ladies chose, first of all, they chose to go through the door of belief, right? And the question was asked, do you still believe in God? After everything that this man has said, do you still believe in God? And Sister Paxton said yes, right? And so they chose to go through the door of belief as opposed to the door of disbelief.
No. Sorry,
that was
Barnes chose to leave.
Barnes,
Yeah.
Paxton
Paxton originally
chose
chose
disbelief.
disbelief
Well, Paxton's-
because she thought, okay, he's clearly trying to steer us in a certain direction. Let's go for the door of disbelief.
But
Paxton was going to go through the door of disbelief just so they could get out of the house.
Yes.
Barnes asked Paxton, do you still believe in God? Paxton said yes, and then went through the door of belief with her friend because she held on to her faith.
yeah, and
which is
Go
but
ahead.
also the both doors led to the same room.
place.
Yeah.
They did lead
So
to the
it
same
sort of actually thinks at that point that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I think
Well, I think that
and
was
I
a
think
brother's
Autumn's made that as like a point
Yeah.
because I think she even said like you're making this into like an all or nothing black or white issue, which is actually how most like religious and non-religious conversations kind of end up going. Like even conversations that Mom and I have,
Right.
it's very much like she's very much like, well, I mean, there's only like one true God and Jesus Christ that died for our sins, and like,
the only way to heaven is through Him. And yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But
Sorry.
and then meanwhile I'm like, yes, however, there were stories in the Bible that actually predate the existence of it, and like he even like pointed out in the movie, like that, you know, it's like iterations upon iterations. Like a good way of kind of like describing it is basically the world's longest game of telephone through multiple translations of languages and iterations and time.
Right.
So
And I would argue that is proof that God exists and that the story of the Bible is true. I would argue that. Because even though it's being told in different ways, as he pointed out, it's the same story. In different ways, different cultures, it's the same story. But I think that's the beauty of this movie, is that it causes those types of conversations, and it does cause you to start to think a little deeper as far as that's concerned. I'm not sure that it convinces one way or the other, as you were stating, because they beautifully fixed it so that you still walk out either with your same point of view, but you're at least thinking about those deeper questions. That's my opinion, but go ahead, Warren, you're trying to tell.
And ultimately, sort of leads the ultimate like sort of religion. He keeps talking about throughout the movie, which ends up being choice.
Yeah.
Which is
Or control.
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 Sorry.
Control.
Which
Which also is very,
It's
very
religion
telling as well,
tries to-
especially considering the fact that they are members of the Church of Latter-day Saints, which you might recognize if you know the show Sister Wives, because the Browns in that show are a part of the Church of Latter-day
Well,
Saints.
no. They are fundamentalist Mormons,
Yes, that's-
which is a difference because they split off.
But Latter-day Saints was
Those are the
eat, sleep,
traditional-
keep, and obey, right?
Latter-day Saints are the traditional Mormons. Now,
Yes.
the Browns, because they believe in polygamy, are part of a sect that has split off from the Latter-day Saints. And that's why that uncomfortable conversation occurred when he asked them about polygamy.
Yes.
And they became very upset and sort of, pardon my words, but they became defensive on that because the Latter-day Saints have tried so long to distance themselves from that. And then one of the common thought processes of those of us who are not in that religion is the fact that he mentioned that the common belief outside of that religion is that perhaps Joseph Smith started that whole polygamy thing to get around having extramarital relations with other women.
Yeah.
So he did talk about that, but yes. So and I didn't mean to stop you there, but I didn't want to offend people by saying that those guys were part of the Church of Jesus Christ because they're two different sects now.
Yes.
They definitely don't like to be mixed. I think the Browns wouldn't mind being called Mormons, but the Mormons would not like it.
And I think I maybe got confused because I think they say that themselves, which is interesting.
Right.
But anyway, because that again is very much like in like the theme of how it's like control, because even he was saying they dictate what you do, how you eat, what you wear, how you act, things like that, and that's kind of true in a sort of sense. I feel like you could even connect that to how religious cults can even sort of form because of that tight grip of control.
now
I see.
here's one.
Because and it sort of parallels it in a way with Sister Barnes's reason for why her mother had converted, which was that her father had died of Legionnaire's disease, and she had said that they were kind of like looking for like comfort in that, and that's generally how like religion can often get its new members, is for like showing that comfort in need. But again, you can also twist that to cultism as well, because that also sort of applies. It's this sort of like extreme. I don't know. I find
think
it.
someone's trying to talk.
Sorry.
Now,
I think a couple of some people are trying to
Yeah. We can just control this entire conversation because I have even more things like how like
So real quick.
sorry.
Would you? And this is a good question because Mom and I saw this in theaters, right?
Yes.
And this is a question that she said we should pose to everyone here, and we'll let that talk before all of us answer. I just want you all to think about this. Who would you say you would fall in line more in the movie? Reed, Paxton, or Barnes? Like, would you agree more with Mr.
Right.
Reed on his views?
Right.
Or would you do like Sister Paxton, pick a door just because you can't see a way out?
Yeah. So, and that's a good description. You had Reed, who kind of took an agnostic type of bent on it, right? Then you had Paxton, Barnes, I'm sorry, who was very much rooted in her religion. And then you had Paxton, who, while yes, she held to her religion, but was willing to be swayed. Yes. So which way do you all think? I know
Honestly,
we're
real quick, once again, we'll revisit that question.
I want to say
after
something
that.
before. I'm not going to answer. I'm just going to say something that's like, could have had it, lost it. About the choice.
the choices.
Oh yeah, and the I thought honestly it was the reverse with the ladies.
Oh,
I thought the one was wavering and the other one was.
Oh.
So I thought Paxton was the one that was set in stone, and the one then Braxton was
Right.
Barnes.
Yeah,
And Barnes was the short-haired, dark-haired.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
you could kind of see that in a way because of like, for example, we find out that Barnes had a birth control implant, which obviously, of course, like you're not supposed to like be on like contraceptives.
Right.
In the Church of Latter-day Saints. But she was like trying to like keep it hidden because for obvious reasons. And I kind of liked the fact though that like, so you had someone who seemingly was deeply rooted in her beliefs, despite the fact that, well, actually no, because you could still see that scar. It looked recent.
Yeah.
So so maybe not,
So,
but
I
I
wanna
was
say
thinking
something
like
about that.
someone
Okay.
who is deeply rooted in her beliefs, but doesn't believe absolutely everything, versus someone who
believes every single word
yeah,
written,
but-
etc.
but will like
will sway
kind of-
if it fits their situation.
yes.
Is how that seemed.
Yes.
So real quick,
yeah.
I want to hear Dad's
Okay.
response.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
don't
we
really
have
have
kind of
anything
just
more
taken over the
intelligent
entire-
to say, but as far as the movie itself, I think it was well written, well casted, well directed. The sets were awesome. I don't know. It's a deep movie. It is
Very
deep.
deep. Makes you think.
It is deep.
And this is why Darius and I were very excited to let the family watch this movie.
My turn.
Sorry. That's normally me going up to it.
With that being said, now there were some things that were said in there about religions, which I don't know if true or not true. We'd have to do some research to find out. So you have to take that for a grain of salt for what it was. So some of it may insult your beliefs, and some of it may be like, okay. So again, it was a well put together movie, well, mess with your thought or mess with your head type movie. With that being said, I think I would line if the answer. I'll start off with the answer. I think I would have to go with what was his name again? Reed. In the fact that even though I am a Christian, I do believe that there's been layers and layers and revisions and stuff. So I think I agree with him in that aspect. So or what was the word he was using? Iterations. Yes. So yes, I definitely believe there's multiple iterations. So even when you are a practicing Christian, you have to. I hate to use those terms, pick and choose, but you have to.
You have to be open to.
You have to be open. It's like, is that really what happened, or is that what man put in there to fit the narrative at the time?
Yeah.
Well,
But the overall story or belief can still be the same. Some details, maybe, I guess would be the word. I'm not sure.
Or the different translations.
So
because it's been
it's
translated
tricky, yes.
so many times.
Yeah, the different translations, interpretations, beliefs. I mean, even like the fact too that like he brought up there's three big religions and they all follow the same Abrahamic God, and yet they all are very different, and they also insist that they are all correct.
This is true.
Yeah.
So would you say that you fall more along the lines of Mr. Reed's voice in that conversation?
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure. I of course, I wouldn't try to prove a miracle, obviously.
Right.
But I do kind of see how a good majority of the elements of religion is control, and how taking back that control can be empowering to people. Because I think my main thing of it is that to me it kind of disproves free will. If everything in your life is predetermined and set out, and something knows exactly how your life is going to go and directs you straight down that path, then you have no free will. It's all going to eventually circle back into whatever path it's destined on, and that's a very weird and complex thought, and I don't like it. Because it's why do anything because I want to if it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things?
Warren, how about you?
Before I say anything about this, I want to point out two things. The foreshadowing is very apparent.
Yeah.
It is right in your face, but it does not. It's hard to determine where it goes to it. Until it gets there, I'm like, okay, this is going to play into something, and I'm thinking it's going to be this, and this is completely different. I'm like, okay.
It's a wild ride.
Oh yeah. Because you see a plank of wood and nails, and you're thinking some Final Destination type. Definitely no, it's not. And it's
not.
And I do like that because it does kind of subvert your expectations, and again, it plays with your senses. Because even with when he was opening the door in the beginning, if you listen closely enough, you can hear mechanical thuds and rumbles and stuff. And at first I was like, does he have his house barricaded or something? No, it's something entirely different. And I like that. I like how it uses all of your senses that it can possibly use to just mess with you. It's so good in that aspect. It uses the medium of film very well for that.
Yeah, Warren.
And the second part,
yes.
it's fun. No, it's fun. You explained it a whole lot better than I could have. The second one is the iterations thing. I knew about the songs, and sort of when he was mentioning Radiohead and the one before that, and
And
Dust for After?
Railway song.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, because I've seen a lot of that happening, and I'm like, okay,
Right.
like yeah, they're putting out like sort of spiritual successors slash or like copyright stuff or whatever. I don't know all the
Yeah.
ins and outs, but
Yeah, which is why it's like a big deal when like people say like, yeah, you can't hold ownership of like a set of chords.
mm-hmm.
Like, because I think like there's like something about Don't Stop Believing. I think like the backbeat of it. Like people were saying like, oh, they stole it from Journey, like they did it first. And I was like, no, it's a set of chords. You can't have ownership of that.
So what was your point, Warner?
Sorry.
On number 2?
Well, I just more the fact that was like sort of like I'm seeing it. I'm just sort of like one of those thought-provoking things, like sort of one of those is like it's stuff stuff you kind of notice yourself, and like you kind of see it everywhere type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the concept of how people are all like complaining like there's no like unique like books or movies anymore.
No original ideas.
Yeah, and no original ideas, and it's like because everything is like borrowed from something else. Like I know like the like main one that I constantly think of is Lion King is just furry Hamlet. Like.
Or what did he say religion was like Star Wars?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the movie takes you in many different directions.
So
Also, the funny thing of this is probably completely off topic, but between Star Wars and Harry Potter, similar storyline.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. We can discuss that later.
Okay.
who do you align with?
I actually kind of do with you and Brett with the reads. Sort of like just you really. It's sort of like it's sort of like about it's all about control and also about choice. I feel like you can choose to believe in this or this.
Right.
Yeah. And I think too, like, and I think also that's kind of like an aspect of the control angle as well, is that, yes, you can choose to be a part of a particular sect or religion or community. However, you have control over how much they can control you, in a sense. Like, my first thought was kind of on the evangelical fundamentalist Christians, where it's like very, very strict and it's like kind of one of like the main Girl Defined and Paul and Morgan are two like really big YouTube channels in that sphere, and it's kind of like the main one that people kind of like think of. It feels like a lot of times because they're so outspoken about it, but like you don't have to follow like every single tenet of it. Like,
so may I?
Yes, sorry.
I feel that I align more with Barnes, and I honestly do feel that my religion is a choice, and I do feel that, while yes, maybe within the confines of this movie and that home, those two doors led to the same place. However, I am choosing the door of belief, so I do feel that God gives me a choice. He does allow me to choose whether I want to follow him or not. Right? I want to follow Jesus or not. And with regard to religion itself, the doctrine of religion, sure, can potentially be controlling. But again, I think it depends on your faith level and what you know about God and what your journey is in your faith. So you do choose different things in different avenues. So for me, I feel very much like I have a choice. And I do choose to be a Christian, and I do choose to follow Christ, and I do choose to put him first in my life. That's a fundamental choice that I choose. Now, I suppose I'm open-minded enough to know that perhaps on the outside looking in, you may think, oh well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I'm less open-minded than I think I am. But yeah, so for me,
I think I get what you're trying to say though.
Yeah,
Like it's very easy from the outside in to make blanket statements, and same
Like
vice versa as well.
right.
I think we had a conversation about this the other day where it was like it's very easy to label Christianity and therefore Christians as homophobic.
Right.
But obvious, of course, that is a person by person basis.
Right.
It's just that the more outspoken ones typically tend to keep up that rhetoric.
But then don't you think though that there's a polarity, right? Because that's probably true from an individual who's outside the religious sphere. Whereas an individual like me is thinking just the opposite, like there are people on the outside who are trying to keep me from my salvation, and people who are trying to steer me in another way. So there are a lot more to me, or for me, Mr. Reeds in the world than there are Barnes and Paxtons. Or at least that feels like the fundamental shift of society, in my opinion.
I think it's been the opposite.
Well, like I said, it's a shift. I would agree historically, maybe that, it was a difference and it was more Paxtons and Barnabas.
Oh, yeah,
But I
definitely.
think over
Because,
time,
wasn't that
has
the entire
changed.
point of the Inquisitions, essentially?
But I think over time that has changed, and now the
think-
tables have been reversed. But you don't feel that way, though. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I think it's a kind of
More
more
We've gone into a totally different.
Yeah,
I think
We want to
it
reel
is
it back
that-
to the movies.
Yeah,
Let your brother talk and then.
So it's
Yeah,
not so
you
weird.
give yours.
I'm kind of mixed between
Paxton and
Barnes, Barnes and Reed, and maybe a little bit of Paxton. For the fact of I understand that there are a whole bunch of iterations, denominations, things like that, but that does not sway my own belief. Now,
right, yeah.
Now I wouldn't go Paxton so much only because with Paxton throughout part of it, she only went with the choices that were quick, easy, escape from conversation type of decisions, rather than unlike Barnes, who actually sat there and was pushing back against Reed. But like I said, it was an interesting question that I thought we brought up.
We did, we mentioned
when
it.
me and you watched it.
Right.
Outside of that, once again, it's a great movie.
Wonderful
Loved it.
movie. Yeah, we need to give our scores. I
Yeah,
don't know how
we have gotten
Barnes.
massively distracted.
We have,
Yeah.
because it's just such a great movie, and it definitely,
There was a whole lot to it.
a lot in it, a whole lot.
That being said,
Go ahead,
I'm
yes,
thinking the
please.
main takeaway,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just going to speak to the Mormon community. Don't go in the house. That's it. Do not go in the house. Period. Okay.
Alright,
Scores.
So, real quick before the scores, I do want to say, as a couple disclaimers here,
Oh, yes, please, definitely.
number one is
These are just our opinions.
opinions and thoughts.
Mhm.
Number two is it doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Christian, Mormon, doesn't matter. I feel like this is a movie that everyone should watch and enjoy on some level. This will help open up the conversation that most would consider taboo or otherwise don't touch it. No, I feel like it's a good way to have these conversations in a respectful manner, like you just seen. Once again,
Just know that it can also open up themes of religious trauma and extremism. So do be mindful of that if you decide to watch it.
But on to the scores. This is going to be one of those very few legendary 10 out of 10s from me.
Yes.
Uh,
I was a 10. I'm a 10. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, 10.
So it's 10 out of 10 for me because once again, great shots, great scenes, great music, great overall theme for a movie, really thought provoking. And there's so much that you can talk about that we would probably would talk about if we were on such a time limit here with this video.
Yeah, because I was about to go into several tangents.
No more
Then go
tangents.
to your
Mashed
score.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Mashed potatoes.
I would probably also give this a 10. It's really good, just it gets under your skin and makes you think, and it's just very well done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of split.
Okay.
I really want to give it a 10.
But speak
But-
your truth.
The very end really confused me. Like, the lady who bled out. You're saying between all the time that after happened to that, between and the way all the way back there, where they looped.
Dante's
I
Inferno Paradise Lost.
God's miracle.
But no, but the thing is, it's like
I think what it was as well was that she might have also been like pretending to have like
Well,
fully
that's
bled
what I
out.
thought.
Because
she was
I
moving.
yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Like, because I could have sworn in one scene,
Well, you
like when he was looking over at her, like I could have sworn that she was still moving.
Yeah.
Like-
well, that also could be the sort of like actors. That
Yeah,
could easily
but
be
that-
treated one of those
yeah,
like one of those actor
yeah,
moments
but-
where like you can't you're human,
that-
you're actually
no.
alive.
While
This
that's true,
this
you
wasn't
even mentioned
seeing
yourself
her
that they
bleeding.
put in a whole bunch of stuff in this
Mhm.
movie that made you go, is it? Was it? Is it?
Even on the
Right.
You know, yeah, a lot of
hold on.
Yeah,
Even
and
on
also
rewatch.
too, like
Hold
it
on,
also
hold
too,
on.
Now
like,
we're treating him like Mr. Reed, where they had their thoughts and then he tried to convince them otherwise.
Yeah,
Whoa, wait.
Because we are dominating. Let Warren talk.
Yeah,
Warren and John
the
have
three
not
of us,
spoken.
yeah.
Yeah. We need to be quiet.
Yeah.
Alright, it's one of those sort of like it feels like it's done because it's a movie type thing, not like it actually could happen. Everything up to that point was like, this could have happened. This is very believable. This is very thought provoking. But then it's just that last minute, just like,
No.
why?
That was,
Why?
I'll tell you why.
Okay, but
That
also,
that was the power of prayer right there in your face. God's will.
Yeah.
but
You know
also,
what's up? And now he's saying that maybe.
No, I'm not seriously.
Yeah,
but
no,
also
yeah.
too,
But you
like,
right
but
though.
also,
So hold on.
but also, there was also, because if you had noticed as well, the cut on her throat was significantly more shallow than the one that he did to get into her arm.
But she bled out a lot from that cut on her.
Yes.
Yeah, she did.
But also the
But-
blood, the cut on her arm is also the factor.
Uh,
Because that was happening after the cut on the
So,
throat.
hold on.
And that still happened before everything else.
So hold on.
but I
The
would
amount
agree.
of blood that she potentially lost
Yeah.
But that
was
is also,
significant.
but that is
True.
also on
But-
a person-by-person basis.
So hold on.
It could have just looked like a lot of blood,
Wait,
but
wait.
it could have been. Oh, remember the pie, the blueberry pie.
What about the
Oh, like
Because when it's mashed up and it's dark and you can't see, it might look like blood and viscera.
Oh,
So
okay.
hold on.
Uh-huh.
We're getting off topic. Yeah. Back to the score. Can you say you were split? You want to give it a 10 out of
yeah.
10, but you wanted
But
to give it
the
something
end-
else.
I might give it like an 8.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Alright,
the other like
fair
it's between like a 10 and an 8.
Fair
Okay.
So a 9.
Okay, you want to
Sure.
think about it before I
It's
give
kind of
up?
like
Well, I was going to say you have a very good point. And it may truly be they did put that in there for those of us who believe in that power of prayer, so that would be, they were trying to disclaim this quote unquote miracle that he pretended had happened. And then, lo and behold, for her, because remember, she was in the process of praying
Oh yeah,
when
then
Barnes got up and did that.
Yeah, and then you could also even like take that a bit further, because remember she was monologuing about something called like the prayer experiment. So it could still be up to personal interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely. But fair enough score, 8. We're good with that. All right,
I'm
okay.
going to give it a solid 9.
Okay, 9 is good. I'm a 10. Big old fat 10. This movie was amazing. It was thought-provoking, intelligent, artistically done. The musical score was wonderful. The acting was phenomenal. I recommend this movie for any and everybody. That's just my opinion. But I thought this was a very good movie, great movie. Second time watching it, and it was still just as good as the first time. So I'm definitely recommending this movie.
But yeah, tell us what you think in the comments. Leave a like, share, and we will
Subscribe.
subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, spuds out. Bye.
That's what I'm supposed to say.
Oh, sorry. You can say it.
No, it's fine.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.